everyone. Welcome to the next episode of Two Geminis with Mics, where these two weird, quirky Geminis take you through a journey of the cosmos through whatever topics we want to talk about. So smooth. So smooth.
Basically. Yep. It's perfect. I think it's just what today represents.
Today's been chaos. Even just trying to get this recorded, I couldn't. My stuff wouldn't work, and now Brooklyn's earphones won't work. So we're winging it again, and then we're also winging it with a topic again.
Yep. Yep. Just woke up and just decided to change it all last minute.
We were just like,
why not?
We pulled the card again. We're going to continue on that little journey because it just felt right. And that's how we function in our day-to-day lives. If something doesn't feel good, we don't do it, and if it does, we do. So today we're going to talk about the Knight of Cups. So that's the card that we pulled. I didn't even, pardon me. Oh my god, I hit the mic again. But anyway, this is the Knight of Cups for those of you watching the video version. And yes, my nails are naked. And I cut them all off. But anyway, so this is from the Golden Art Nouveau Tarot deck. And so anybody interested in the type of deck it is a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. That's mostly what we will be using. That's kind of what we're familiar with. And basically this is it's part of the court cards that come in tarot. And court cards are kind of, well, like last time, the King of Wands. Was it the King or the Knight? Okay.
It was the King last time. And this time we got the Knight.
So basically with the court cards, there is a page, a queen, a page, a knight, a queen, and a king on top of the other structures within a tarot deck. We never even covered that, Brooklyn. Did we? Like that there's 72 cards. I think, is it 20 or 21?
No, we haven't.
20 or 21 major arcana, and then the rest are suits. And then each suit has 4 court cards. That's the very basic rundown. I'm sure one day we'll go deeper, but it's essentially that the Knight of Cups, the suit of cups in general, is very emotion and relational based, and creativity, intuition. So if you couple that with the Knight, then you get maybe a representation of a person you know. Could be you, could be a Pisces, could be a Scorpio, could be a Cancer. But I think I would really love to take this from the intuition angle, because I think we both have a lot to say about intuition.
Well, and this was a intuitional web or episode. Oh my god, I almost said website.
Whatever. There's going to be a few of those today. I can already feel my brain is like inserting the wrong words in the wrong places.
Well, we're like full moon in Virgo, and it's just been
my god, we could talk about the full moon. The sun's in Pisces.
Taking a full, yeah, it's like literally just, it's been so
chaotic,
emotional, crazy.
It's been very chaotic week.
So, and I'm a Virgo rising, so it was just like,
wow. I've been feeling like an adult the last 2 weeks, which sounds hilarious coming from a 33-year-old woman, but like I don't know. I went to my therapist and I was like, holy crap, I'm a grown woman. I can make my own decisions. She was like, yeah, that's how this stuff works. So I think like for me, this culmination of this full moon has just been like, it's very much it's in my 4th house of past home, family life, private life, and stuff like that. So I've been noticing a lot of growth in those areas of my life, and it's bringing so much energy in that. And my public persona, because my 10th house is public, like how you present your career, public facing kind of. I'm missing words, but yeah. Anyway, so I get it. Yeah, it's been a lot.
It is. And leading up to the eclipses, because we have a full moon, a lunar eclipse next month, I feel like it's just preparing to clip away the things that aren't meant for us and that we are so dearly holding on to. And the universe is just like, no, we're coming in to clip those things away from you. And I'm like, no.
For me, eclipses are such uh like concentrated periods of time where I find that you really have to face your demons or the things in those topics. Like it's also like really new beginnings. Like cuz you could argue that
Mhm.
this podcast is a result of those eclipses that are happening and have happened over the last like 4 years in our lives. And so it's not all bad and negativity, but in the process of them, it often feels exhausting. And it often feels like you're not sure when you're going to
Mhm.
be able to breathe again. I find like those moments in life are often either tied to a full moon or an eclipse. I swear.
Yeah. Well, and like for me, that's what I find so beautiful about the eclipses. Like, yes, it's a painful process for me, but I know it's to better my life in the end. And I know it's for my purpose and my life direction and the path that I'm supposed to be on, that because we have I feel like it's because we have free will, and it's just like, okay, you're heading in a wrong direction, so let's try to redirect you onto the right way. Cuz I know for me, I get stuck and comfortable in things that I shouldn't be in or
Yeah,
shouldn't
I
be doing.
do want to go
Or
into like an explanation of what the eclipses are a little more detailed. But and no, never mind. I forgot the other thing I was going to say. So just because it was piggybacking off of yours, and then I was like, "Oh, I've got an idea," and then I cut you off, and and now we're here. So sorry. But anyway, so for eclipses, essentially, it's probably one of the easiest things you can do to your own chart if you can pull it. You basically have to have an idea of just the labels of the 12 houses, um, the where the eclipses are right now, and then the topics of the 12 houses. So like for me, they are landing in my 5th and 11th house. So I'm finding themes around what I do for fun, what I do for pleasure, um, my groups, my friends, how I show up in the world is very much being like pinged in through these. And also my relational, like my friendships, like just having to learn. I mean, relationships have been a huge thing for me over the last few years with therapy and stuff anyway, but like this is highlighting that again, really. So that's the simple explanation of what an eclipse is. You go, you find out what sign they're in. Right now they're in Aries and Libra for this set that's coming in March and April. So you find the Aries and Libra portion of your chart, and then if you search Google, like say like Brooklyn's a Virgo in the first house, so your eclipses are in your second and eighth, right? So then
yeah.
her Aries and Libra axis is there, and it's always opposing signs because that's how they're tracked by the nodes, which I don't know what the technical explanation on the nodes is, so I'm gonna have to do some research on that. But um, that's also how you can tell them by your south and north node, like where the eclipses were when you were born is significant as well. But yeah, that's just like a little brief introduction on quick and dirty introduction on what eclipses are and how to find them in your chart. And if you were to Google like themes of the second house, you get a description of like how somebody earns money, the things that they accumulate in their life. It's the tangible things, like right down to groceries. How you earn a paycheck is kind of like and how you treat your money too. And
Mhm.
then, yeah, so
Yeah.
you just kind of got to look at it that way. And you can do some pretty good uh, descriptive astrology work just by tracking eclipses. It's so cool.
Well, since the last eclipse, since last time, like for me, it's definitely highlighted. Like I've been going through and decluttering and getting rid of a whole bunch of stuff. Like I'm trying to be more mm, like
Meticulous, maybe?
not holding yes, and
Yeah.
minimalist. Like I'm trying to only I'm trying to get rid of a lot of things that I've been carrying around with me that just don't really hold a lot of meaning anymore. And it's been very eye opening to how I was raised. And like my family has a problem with hoarding, and just learning to not have those tendencies and why
Mhm.
they had those tendencies and why they felt the need to hold on to things that we really didn't
Hmm.
need in our lives.
And one thing I forgot to say: big endings and big beginnings are with eclipses. So that's why
Mhm.
the um, uh, the themes really pop out for you too, right? Like for me, the
Yeah.
last set was in Taurus and Scorpio, and for me that led to they were my pet house and my house of like institutions, isolation, health. Like, so I ended up having surgery over the course of that eclipse series, which is very 12th house institutions like hospitals. Um, but I also got Fred, and that's my house of pets. And that was when I was first learning eclipses. So for me, that was like, holy shit, right? Like really big. It's such a simple but impressive little delineation that you can do for yourself just to like see how you feel about astrology or like learn something about what might be coming up for you. But I think when you do get into eclipse season, because I think it lasts from 3 weeks before to 3 weeks after or something like that. There was an astrology podcast on it, and like, yeah, we'll try to put some of those links if you want to listen to them. They're long winded, but there's so much good information. Um, and I think if you trust your intuition and try your best not to resist change, it's not as painful.
Letting go is huge, and allowing things to flow. And I find that's been my challenge, is knowing things are going to work out, but having resistance.
Like, we ask all these things of the universe and like the things we want, and we are so resistant to change, me included. These Taurus placements, girl, like, you know, you know how much I hate change. Like, it is
Yeah.
excruciatingly painful for me, but like the only thing constant in life is change, and I'm learning that now. And like, I think that factors into the comment I made before about realizing I'm an adult and I can make these decisions, and it's what makes me happy, and not living your life for other people. And very much that,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Well, and like my relationship with money has been constantly evolving, and I'm so happy and proud
You
of how
have come
far
far.
I've come and how much, oh my God. And I feel like now that I understand and I'm starting to rebuild a healthy relationship with money, it's changing my whole view on it. And it's so beautiful and I love it. And I'm really interested to see what happens after the eclipses. Um, because just what's leading up has been so
Yeah.
like life
Like, this
changing.
alone was bad enough. I remember listening to the astrology podcast, like forecast for February, and they were like, so we've got all these Pluto alignments, so February is going to be a little hard from the middle to the end. And then we go into eclipse season, and I was like, I may as well just turn this off right now because I know where this is going and I don't want to hear it.
It's a heavy year, but for me, I feel like because I like one of my favorite sayings is nothing ever good comes from your
God,
comfort zone.
love, hate that.
And and for me, like it's because I've like when I moved away from home at the age of 16, like that saying just lit a fire under me because I knew that this was scary, but I knew it was going to lead to great things. And it did. Like when I moved away from home, oh my God, I
You
grew
met
so
me.
much.
Aww.
And yes, I
Oh my
know so many
god.
great things came from that. And I'm so happy and so grateful because I got to experience such amazing things such early on in my life. And I am so forever grateful for that experience. And just like, I feel like knowing big changes are about to happen again, I look forward, like, I am so nervous and so anxious about it, but yet there's like a calming
Yeah.
that comes with it, knowing that it's gonna be for the good and it'll be for something
Yeah,
positive.
I agree. And I can't believe I forgot it was the full moon today, to be honest. That's why I was like listening to your eclipse thing and I was like, here I am. We were wondering why we were having all these issues. It's a friggin' full moon on your ascendant.
I full moons for me, I am because I get crazy. I'm not gonna lie. I get very moody, very like this one. I kept telling Keisha, like, I just want to burn things down. Like, I am just like, there's so much rage and anger inside of me. And knowing that, like, yesterday I had to drive to a different town to go to Costco and do like a couple of things because I live in a smaller community. So I have to drive out of town to do these things. And I was going to spend the night in the other town, but because it was a full moon, because it was supposed to snow,
You gotta love as that
and there we
apple.
go again, Apple. Thank
Thank you for
you.
chiming in, Apple.
Once
For
again.
those of you watching the audio
Love
version, one of those
you.
automated things just like went off of Brooklyn's screen while she was talking.
Because I'm a hand talker, I can't help it. And Apple's just decided to play these weird sick tricks on us and just be like, "Yep, we're gonna make you pay for it, you
Yeah.
hand talkers." So
Oh my
there
god,
you
it's like a little
go.
celebration. It's a little ode to the full moon.
It is. To thriving in the full moon because
Chaos.
I was so cautious and so aware. Like when I'm driving, because I'm a new driver, I'm 30, I get
No,
it,
no,
I
no, no.
know.
That is a
But
no, we do not shame that here because that's a freaking big deal. That was a big deal and I'm dang
it
proud of
is.
you. And that happened on an eclipse.
It is. I
That happened on an
it
eclipse.
did. It the last eclipse, it
In your
literally
travel
did.
like
It
houses.
was
So like your day-to-day travel in your
yes.
ninth house. So like man, see, big beginnings, big endings, man. Like that was huge for you.
And it was so funny because I have failed the exams, but then as soon as I started syncing things up with the moon, guess what, guys?
It
Guess
happened.
what? It happened. It happened. And now I'm driving, and I'm, like,
You should
such a
be.
cautious driver. I am, like, oh, I'm so glad that I waited this long because I couldn't imagine me driving in my 20s. I would have been a menace. I would have
You know what?
been
I can back you on that. I can back you on that. I was yeah, I could you
literally
would have been a little chaotic.
and, like
Nobody would have kept you down in your
yeah,
20s if
and
you had your
I told
license. You would have been like, "Peace."
probably would have been living in a different country, to be honest. Like, if I would have figured out travel that early on, oh my
Bye
god, oh my
everyone.
god. Where's Brooklyn? Out
Like sometimes my
traveling.
parents will ask me, "How's Brooklyn these days?" I was like, "Well, she's doing her thing." Like that was often my answer in our 20s. It's like, "Oh, she's doing things." So you were already doing stuff that you're just like I was like, "She goes through a beat of her own drum, man. Like whatever."
Yep, just going along. It happens. And I find that it's funny because like travel is very big in my life. Like I travel a lot. Like even between like living situations, it'll be like a couple hours in between places that I live.
You've
So
always
it's
been
just
very, like,
it's very interesting.
movable, whereas I'm very immovable, so, like, it's a very interesting friendship because 'cause we're so opposite in that way. Like
Well, and I'm very airy and like
yeah.
mutable and like
This week you,
Cardinal.
I hope you don't mind me talking about this, like, we can cut this out, but, like, I was so proud of you because you set a boundary with me, and as, like, an air sign, that is so hard, and she was apologizing for a boundary, and I was like, "Brooklyn, this is
I'm
healthy.
like,
This is good. This is how friendship should be. You need to be able to tell me when I'm being too
as
much and I'm pissing you off. That is okay."
soon as I did it, I took it back. I'm like, it's okay. It's okay.
And
I
I
don't
was
have to.
working,
It's
so she
fine.
was, like,
It's
having a
fine.
meltdown. I was like, "It's okay, I promise. I'm not angry." Because it takes I think oh my god, now we're gonna go into emotional boundaries. I feel like that's still Knight of Cups, so whatever. But like emotional boundaries are hard, and they're hard for mutable signs, and I have a lot of mutable in my chart too, and that is something that the last 2 3 years have been like me trying to learn how to do that. So when I see somebody else do it, I applaud them because I am aspiring to do it more. Right? It's important. That's healthy in
Mhm.
relationships.
It is. It is. And I feel like that also goes into
Yep.
victims as well. Like that is huge into our victim role. And I feel like that's part of the growth that we are doing is we are learning our new roles and learning how to navigate these new boundaries and navigate our new roles that we've been thinking about but we haven't been able to do it and put it into action. And I feel like that's what Aquarius is to me. Was like Capricorn was like thinking about how we wanted to be and how we wanted to live. And now that we're in Aquarius, like
With
going
Pluto.
into the Aquarian, yeah, we're able to see the transformations that we need to make to better our lives and to live how we should be and not being like hiding and not hiding, but just like fawning.
Hiding works. We can go with hiding.
Because it
I
was like
just
I
muted
would
my
fawn
for the
so
first
much. That
time
was
too,
like,
so now I can't tease you anymore.
see, and I've been holding it by the bottom so I don't mute it because I feel like if I hold it here, I can't touch the button.
Dang, man. I was gonna reply and then I muted myself and I was like, oh. But yeah, no, like, and boundaries are hard, and they're hard for people pleasers, which we are. I mean, I'm not as much anymore, and I don't think you are as much anymore, but like it's a constant
And
effort.
we're getting
It's
out
a
of it.
constant effort. So like you got to be able to celebrate your friends when they put a boundary in place cuz that is that's the way it should friggin' be. Right? Like celebrating people when they make a move in the right direction that is only going to make your friendship stronger. You need to be able to trust each other that way. You know what I mean? And I think that's huge.
Definitely.
And I was
Definitely.
like, "Yeah." But, yeah, so, like, I feel like that's kind of what the Knight of Cups kind of was bringing us today was, like, boundaries, and we're so new at it. Like, I feel like Page of Cups would be like, "You need to put boundaries in." And I feel like Knight of Cups is like, "You're starting to put boundaries in." And then I feel like King of Cups, if we got that, that would be like, "Master." Right? Like, so we're Knight of Cups in it right now.
Because we're still feeling the guilt when we do it, But we're learning not to feel guilty
Exactly.
when setting that boundary, and
I had
that
to
is
set one this
hard.
morning with a friend who wanted I haven't seen her forever, and I wanna see her, but I couldn't today because we're doing this, and then I have therapy, and I will be spent after that. Because I mean, when I go into therapy, I leave everything at the door, and I am there, and then I take the day because that's what I need. So I asked her to move it to a different weekend, and she didn't care, she understood, and that's what healthy friendships are about. Even though I haven't seen this woman in,
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe a year, and we live in the same town,
Aw.
and like, I can't wait to hang out with her and her son. You know what I mean? Like, it's never about
Mhm.
that, and healthy friendships will understand that, and that's what I believe.
Yes.
But anyway, I went on we went on a ride there, and I enjoyed it. Oh,
Yes, but it
it
was a good
was.
ride, it was fun. And we're just figuring this stuff out, and we feel like we have
Stuff to share, but a lot of
just
growth to
some
do.
yeah. Oh, yeah, like, we are learning, we are in
We're
the
waist deep in the pool
process.
of
We
garbage still. We're just starting to walk the other way
Yep,
out of it.
yeah, we're just figuring out this dumpster fire, but we're in it, and we like it, it's
Yeah, I mean,
fun.
you know, when the dumpster fire is not too hot.
Well, I like heat. No.
Yeah, the one that was talking about burning everything to the ground with the red hair over there. I love it. She's like,
Yep.
"Oh my god." Yeah, no, that feels
Uh,
correct.
yeah, and I feel like this is, like, a perfect segue into talking about
Yeah, we can do
endometriosis a little
that
bit.
because March is coming. March is endometriosis month. I don't think I have as much research done as I would like, but I'm sure it will come up again. Because I would like to be able to provide people with
Yes.
like what's going to light up yellow because they do that every March now, and like that was huge. I
Mhm.
know a lot of places in Alberta do it. A lot of places in Ontario, I think, do it. Um, it's really nice to see. Yellow is the color for endometriosis awareness. And over the last 4 or 5 years, you've seen people get more and more into it and more aware. I don't have enough information even there's a new drug available that's non-hormonal. I don't have enough. I think it's in trials though, and that's the first ever of its kind. I don't even know the name yet. I've only seen one video on it, so like I feel a little unequipped to talk about it fully, but like that's a big breakthrough and could even be our good news story for the day because we forgot to do that.
Yeah. And we're just like I wanted to briefly touch on Indo. I feel like we'll have like another episode with um like more endometriosis, but more
Detailed? More,
scheduled. I don't know. Like
dare we say
yeah,
more
more detailed.
organized? Because I don't
More
even know if we can live up to that promise. Like, but, you know.
it'll be more detailed. We'll have more information,
Yeah.
correct information because right now we're just
Yeah.
winging it. Um But I feel like endometriosis has been a huge part of our lives, and just speaking on personal experiences, I feel like that's something we don't really need to
Yeah.
look up because it's like there's certain dates and stuff like that I would like to go over because I feel like there will be some
A and I feel like I'm a little oh, yeah, there'll be
astrological.
astrological significance in yours. I mean, it's blatantly obvious in mine. I've looked into it a few times. Not so much as my first surgeries, but my most recent, because that's when I was in astrology and, like, into astrology, and that was, like I said, eclipses. It was so closely it was also in the middle of the pandemic, so the every time I'd hit isolation house, my surgery date would get pushed back or it'd be even further away. So I went through like 2 years of eclipses and it was right around the final series that I finally got my surgery. I waited 2 years to get an excision surgery. Ooh, we could talk about what is considered the best uh the top medical Oh my god, I can the words have just completely. But the what is considered the best treatments for endometriosis medically, and then we could probably talk about what we've done if you want to do that, because I know a bit of it.
Um, yeah,
Um,
yeah, I just feel like because it's changing right now, like for me, because of the surgeries, I personally don't recommend surgeries to
you had
people with
ablation though,
endometriosis
right?
right off the bat.
You had ablations. Ablations are different.
Or
Okay, so let's cover this then. Okay, so ablation, when you go, okay, let's start from ground zero here. Those of you who do not know, endometriosis is a lining similar to the uterus, similar to the lining of the uterus that grows externally within the body. And it breaks down with your period every month. So you're essentially eternally bleeding, and then it attaches organs and tissues and causes a whole host of different
crazy part.
things. And so far, it's been found on every single organ in the body, I think, in like every through all the cases that have been discovered, they've found it pretty much.
Up to
I
the
think even
lungs.
brain. I think don't take that as gospel. Don't take that as gospel, but I could have sworn everything except at one point it was everything except the pancreas, and now they've even found it there.
The last time I looked into it, it was up to the
That can
lungs.
cause
That was,
lungs
oh my
collapsing,
god.
hey? Like
Yes,
actual
I
I've
know.
seen like so this is more than a period problem, guys. This is why we were so passionate
Mhm.
about it, because we were lucky and we suffered. Like and we were
Yep.
lucky. So um
If you have painful periods, just know that that is
no.
not normal and you should seek a doctor's help. And I just want to put a thing out there. We are not
Yeah.
doctors. We are not
You
therapists. We have no medical background. This is just our personal experiences with this disease. And we have two different
journeys.
separate
Yeah.
experiences and
Mhm.
journeys. And we've taken it completely different. Like she's gone one way, I've gone a completely different way, but we've both
Yep.
found healing in it. And that's what we want to shed light on is that it isn't the cuz when I first had it, I literally thought it was the end of my life and it's not. I'm here to tell you there is a light on the other
Yep.
side of that dark tunnel. It may be dark right
Yep.
now, but there is light,
And
so
it's
keep
and like
going.
some of our the things that helped us too are controversial things that like a lot of people will be like, that's bullshit. And like if I didn't do
Mhm.
it myself and if people didn't know me prior, they would think I was one of those people, really. Like, you know what I mean? That was just like blowing
Mhm.
smoke. But like, okay. So we're gonna go through now that I've kind of explained what it is a little bit. And Brooklyn has very kindly given us the doctor warning that I forgot. We're going to, I'm just going to give you a brief overview of the options available medically within our system currently right now that I'm aware of. So in
In
Canada,
Canada.
like, yeah, very important. So
And we're
Western
Western,
Canada.
Western
So
Canada.
we have ablation, which is essentially they go in through laparoscopically and they burn off the endometriosis sites. This does not take out the root of the endometriosis and it easily grows back. It just might give you a little bit of a relief for a period of time, and it might not at all because I didn't always experience that after my surgeries. I have had two ablations. I went for a third and had a traumatic experience with a doctor who very much just did not want to hear it because she was trying to, I think, preserve my fertility, which is another issue that we'll talk about, I'm sure, one day. But,
Mhm.
and we're already at 34 minutes for this episode, so I think we're only going to be able to fit so much in this. Um, but nowadays they recommend an excision surgery. An excision, they still go in laparoscopically, but what they're doing is they're cutting the endometriosis out of your tissues where possible. And depending on the organs that it can be excised from, and if you go to get this done, you want an excision surgeon because an excision surgeon can do the best job of cutting it out without hurting you, without damaging things. They have a certain level of training, um, and there's very few of them, so it's hard to get into. There are some that do not have the I don't remember what the word is, if it's fellowship. There's something they have to do. Some people are still saying they do excision and they don't have that training under a certain doctor. I don't know how to explain that. I'd have to look into that again. But since my excision 2 years ago, I was in a lot of pain and I am doing better, but I would not say it is only the excision that got me here. It has been lots of mental health. Medications for my mental health have helped me, I do believe, because they keep my cortisol levels kind of, and I've noticed stress really triggers mine. Um, so, but I've had to go a lot more natural in order to find relief past surgery. Um, Much more holistic than you would expect. And I would have ever expected, because I would have punched somebody if they told me to go holistic about 3 years ago. I'm not even kidding. I would have punched them in the face. I would have been so mad. So mad. Yeah.
She did. I tried. I'm not gonna lie. I tried, and she's like, "Brooklyn, I don't want to hear it." And then
But
I just
boundaries, right? Like, that was like you this week.
it,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Exactly. And like that's what I mean. Like me and Keisha, we had two completely different go arounds with Indo. For me, I went on like hardcore
Oh, I
birth
forgot
control.
about
Like I went
that.
on Depo,
Yeah.
and I went on some really really harsh pills that just completely wrecked my
And
inside,
I
like
have tried
my
all those too. Well, not
gut.
all of the same. Like, we've had different birth controls.
Well, I was on
You,
yeah. I went on the pill. The pill I had a
I got
reaction to right
headaches.
away. So I only yeah, I was nauseous. I was like thrown like that's when well, I threw up on my periods when I was on birth control and then when I was getting off of birth control as well. Because I was on Depo for 5 or 6 years or something like that, the doctors wanted me completely off of birth control for a couple years. And that was when, for me, I felt the greatest relief because I was just dealing with period pains and not the symptoms of
Yeah.
the birth control as well. And then I didn't realize that it was the symptoms until after. And then I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
And that's the thing, like, they don't
wow.
include
And
that part. Like, you're gonna still get other symptoms from this birth control, but this is the Band-Aid that we have, so this is the Band-Aid we're gonna give you. And
well, and that was the thing is I know other women that had such great success with like I had the Mirena, I had the IUD.
my
That only lasted a year and then it was
yeah,
just like absolutely horrible side effects for me. So I had to get it out when I had a
yeah. My
laparoscopy.
IUD was the
And
only thing
then
that worked for me the first time. The
yes.
second one was not that
Yes.
experience, and nobody tells you that it's not gonna be the same.
Well, and that's the thing is I know women that have been on the IUD for 10, 15 years and that have had nothing but relief. And that's what I was hoping for. And that's the thing is being an advocate for yourself and knowing when things aren't working for you. Just because they work for someone else doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily mean that they'll work for you. And you have to go on your own unique healing journey. And I hate saying that, but it's the
Everybody is
truth,
different
and
and every
that's
body is different, right? Like,
mhm,
and the fact
yep.
that I don't have the right stats, and that bothers me right now, because again, this is like, these are conversations I wanted to be organized for, but hey, the
We're
tarot
gonna do
happened,
another
okay?
one. So
The
this is
tarot came up.
we're gonna yeah, we're gonna be talking about Indo a lot because it's
March
something
too.
that has
Yeah.
that well, yeah, and it's like it's the awareness month, so we wanna bring awareness to endometriosis and to women everywhere, but we also want to share our experiences because we feel like not everyone has the same experiences, and we've come out on the other end and we want to
Well,
share
I'm
that with
still in
people, and I think
my
that's very
struggle with it,
important.
and that's a story for another time because 'cause we're running out of time today,
But
but I do
yes,
wanna
you
say one
are.
thing, though. Oh my god, did I just forget what I wanted to say that I was holding on to so fricking tightly? I think I did. It was about birth control. Nope, doctors. That's what it was. Okay. So it's so important to note that women have not been included in most scientific studies and medical studies until was it mid 90s or mid 2000s?
I think it was
Somewhere mid
1997 or
90s, yeah,
something like
and they've
that.
only started testing period products with period blood in the last year. Not period blood, with blood in the last year. So I think that, like, that is so important to know because 'cause we're going to all these doctors that are pushing different things on us, and we're accepting them as a Band-Aid, and then we come to find out down the road that this is doing different kind of damage to us. And none of these studies are done, and only now is this disease getting attention and hopefully finding better solutions. So that's where when you start to realize all these things, then you start to be like, my only choice is something a little more holistic at this point.
Well, and like for you, I felt like your first surgery, they removed so much. It was like I felt like yours was necessary, but for me and my surgeries, I felt like my surgeries were not necessary at
Well, the
all
first
because
for
I had such
diagnosis, because that is the
low.
only way they can truly diagnose it, right?
But I feel because of the I live in BC and we have a women's hospital in BC. And when you are diagnosed with endometriosis and have had so many surgeries, you get to be a part of this woman's health thing. And in that, they have things to help combat endometriosis when surgery
Mhm.
isn't working for you. And for me, I feel like this should be the first step, not the last, because that gave me the most relief. It was counseling, it was pelvic floor specialist, it was
Food, right?
diet, going to a dietitian, and then I went and seen a naturopath as well. And all of those things helped me within a year of going from skipping work, like 1 to 5 days of work every single month,
Yeah.
to going to work with the pain. Like I can manage through the pain now. Like it's nothing to what it
I,
used to
uh,
be.
I only just
And
started eating
that's
for
why.
mine. You've been wanting
Yes, and your
I'm
cycle
starting to,
syncing, that, like,
and
I
I'm not even
feel.
fully into
Yeah,
it
I
yet.
feel like these
Like,
things.
I just started because I am
Yes.
on an IUD, so there's only so much eating for my body can do right now. I do hope to get that removed because it is not serving me. It is not doing positive things for me anymore. So it doesn't make sense for me. So yeah, I started cycle syncing and eating. So like I honestly I was one of those people that was like, okay, like doctors know what they're doing, it's all bullshit, every like all the holistic stuff. But I think there's a fine line in between that's somewhere where these things need to come together. You know what I mean? Like I feel like both have their validity, but we need to be given all options. You know, if that makes sense.
Well, I feel like we have gone away because I'm Indigenous, I feel like we have forgotten that our bodies can heal itself, for one, and that if we eat healthy, do exercise, because our bodies were meant to move. Our bodies were meant to do things. And when we're sitting,
Josh always says to
and
me,
like this
motion is
goes
lotion.
back,
Yeah. Well, think about
it
like
is
physio
though.
and
Like
stuff.
our
Yeah.
joints, literally, like our body is meant to move, our body is meant to do things. If we sit there and not do anything, we're not doing any good for our body. And like that was like my biggest thing is like doing my, I always say my tummy exercises, but it's literally like just constantly working on my pelvic floor
And
exercises. Those are
well,
huge
I've
for
only now
me.
realized recently how tight my pelvis is from all the pain and all the years of like, well, surgery, trauma to the hips, whatever it might be. Like, I'm only now being able, because I've had surgery and now I know, like, uh, my result of my third surgery was much better than my first two. Can't explain it
Mhm.
besides mental health. I don't know, but like, they were better. Um, the pain didn't feel any better and it doesn't correspond to the amount of endometriosis you have. That's also a very important point that we forgot. Like, your pain level does not correspond. You could have less or more than anybody else. um, there's no like right or wrong here. You could have very little endo and have worse pain experience than another person who doesn't even know they have
Mhm.
endo and might have just really bad periods, you know what I mean? Like, so for me, like, only now am I realizing how tight my pelvis muscles have gotten and how that's contributing to my pain when I'm on my period. And when I'm doing these exercises or like different things to try and help myself holistically, my PMS symptoms are different, which in itself is better. My cramps are a little bit more manageable. They
Mhm.
still suck. But like again, I'm only like
Yeah.
1 foot in, 1 foot out right now. Like, this is something I'm trying to change about my life to see how much better it can get. Um, but Brooklyn's like experienced that fully. You've been in it fully before. Like the food and then
Yeah.
this is a new experience. This part of it is a new experience for me. So yeah.
Yeah. And it's like affirmations, like it's not just the food, it's not just the working out, it's also the mind. Like for
Oh
me,
god. Right?
I like, yeah, and like The Power of Now, the book, The Power of Now, has helped me overcome those things so much because I used to negative talk myself so much, like, oh, I'm in so much pain. Oh, I have endometriosis.
It will
And
make it
that's what I
worse.
mean
Like, it's not
about
that the pain's not already bad,
literally
but it will make it worse. Yeah.
words are
They're powerful.
medicine. Words are magic. Like they are so, and how you talk to yourself
Yeah.
matters. So for me, it was just flipping the script and talking to myself that I am healed. So, like some of my favorite affirmations: I am pain free, I am healthy, I am healed. Those three, when I have period pain, I am constantly saying those over again and again and again, like a broken record, and they've helped me get out of some really, like I am like
Yeah.
keeled over on the floor throwing up in pain, and I just say those until I start feeling better and come out of it, and I'm able to pick myself
I
up
do it a
off the
little
floor.
differently, but similarly, like, my journey with that started with something that I don't really think I would recommend to other people because there's so much better information there, which is, The Secret. It started with that for me because I was watching it and it talks about
Mhm.
manifestation, and most people know what The Secret is. Like, it talks about, like, how you create your own reality and things, which for somebody with chronic pain and a chronic disease is a very hard pill to swallow. And I don't believe,
Mhm.
now that I've really gotten into astrology, I have a different view on this, but our words are still create our reality. So I tried to do that just for like a few weeks just to see if it made a difference because I was at a point where I couldn't bend. I couldn't get off the couch. Like, it was getting really bad. So I got to a point where I stopped telling myself I couldn't bend, stopped telling myself I couldn't do these things, stopped. For me, that's how I started. I started to take certain things out of my vocabulary and try not to focus on them. And within 2 weeks, I was packing a bag to go visit my family in Newfoundland, which I would have never tried to do, drag a 50-pound suitcase across the country. I went on like I got to go on the boat and my uncle took me like walking. I was so sore the next day because we were walking around all these rocks. I was like falling over. Like, I couldn't have done that 2 weeks before that. And that was when, or it might have been a month. We'll say a month just to be like safe. But like it it really feeds into it. And again, if somebody had told me that before that moment, I would have punched them in the face. So like I understand it sounds very
Definitely.
abrasive and you just if anybody who has endo is listening wants to probably punch us right now, but like we're here to tell you that it's worth a shot. What do you have to lose,
It
right?
is.
Like
And like counseling really helped me change my view on what I can control and what I can't control, and what I used to blame things on, and what things I used to not take accountability for. So, eating dairy, eating gluten, and then having painful periods, and like just constantly blaming other things instead of taking action for things that I can
yeah.
have control in. I can
I
control the
mean, it's
things that
worth a
I eat. I
shot,
can
right?
control, yes. And it's I'm not going to lie, it was a very expensive road, cuz it cost, I literally had to, so that's when I was partying, like drinking and going out and clubbing and yada, like I was in my
Mhm.
20s, and I literally stopped
I remember when you stopped drinking and I
doing
was
that
like,
stuff.
"Do I need to come check on you?"
Like, I literally quit drinking for, I think it was like 9 months straight, and it just because I was going on a health journey, like, I just wanted to change
Yeah.
my diet, change my food, everything, and alcohol, coffee, processed foods, there was some other things that I had to cut out, but it was like I went
You went very
strict,
strict. I would like
very,
to say
very
I have
strict.
not been that strict and have seen some positive changes. So, like, why not ease into it and just see what happens, right? Like,
Exactly, and that's
yeah,
why,
again, not
yeah.
doctors. God, I hate to cut it off because we're having such a good conversation, but I do have to run. So, we're gonna have to queue up this
Yes.
episode. Any last words, Brooke? Anything you wanna add?
No, I love you guys, and this is
Yeah,
just the beginning. We're gonna dive in
this
deep in we're
at
gonna
least it
dive
was
in
you
deep
this
into
time,
the
not me hitting
endo.
the mic. Yeah, right. So yeah, we're gonna have to do a full episode on this. I kind of forgot how detailed and the nuances and the difference in our experiences. So we'll have to do a full episode on it, like really. But yeah, and we've got a few episodes we're very excited about. So we hope you guys will stick around for our next one. And with that, we hope to see you next time. We're having a great time and we hope you are too. And bye.